day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Growfold, and today will be big box store plant shopping at Lowe's out in West Plano, Texas. As always, please press the thumbs up or like button for this video. It definitely pushes this content out to more plant lovers like yourself, as well as give me a follow on Instagram at Growfold. That is the fastest and most direct way to get in touch with me if you have any questions about the plants. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning when I went out and filmed this big box store plant shopping video, and I just love mornings. Mornings just signify new beginnings and what the day is going to bring forth. It's always going to be good vibes only for me, or at least that's how I try to start my mornings off. I love that the sun is super gentle, the light is out, and it's not extremely hot just yet in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at. And then for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. My name is Richie and I do daily 1-hour plant shopping videos. If you notice, I do have some new musical tracks. I did want to shout out my friend Jordan, who has a YouTube channel called Aisle Wired. I will link that in the description below, but I'm so excited because him and I are going to be collaborating on an official Plant Foldies music soundtrack. So it's all of the songs that I will be using that he will be producing for all of my future big box or plant shopping content. So I hope you enjoy the sound. We have a lot of tracks that I'm going to be doing and actually sharing with you guys today. And so hopefully you will let me know what you think of some of the new music. But as you can see right here, I am going to take just a little bit of time to show you some of the exterior plants that they have available. So we have a bunch of Bonnie plants. These are typically vegetables and herbs. And you know, some of us might think that it's too late to be growing vegetables and herbs. I don't think so. I know that it is in the heat of summer, but you know what I've been doing with a lot of my overgrown tomato plants? I've been taking cuttings and sticking them in water and water propagating them to start new plants. So that's something that is super easy, definitely cost effective. But for today's video, I did want to feature a lot of the indoor tropical plants. If you've never been to this location out in West Plano, this is the one off of Preston Road, right next to the George Bush Tollway. Definitely check this out because it is a place that typically maintains its in-stocks when it comes to plants. You can see right over here, we do have some citronella plants. That's something that I need to buy because my back patio does have quite a bit of mosquitoes and I'm tired of getting bitten by them. But the smell of citronella will actually repel the mosquitoes. But as you can see right here, we are about to walk into the indoor tropical plant. And this is one of the other locations in the DFW market that has quite a bit of Costa Farms plants. So we're going to take a look at that. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what the plants they have over here look like. Would you agree that big box store plant shopping is a great way to start a morning? So I woke up super early to drive down here. It's about a 35-40 minute drive from where I am based at. But as you can see right here, this Lowe's location has so many beautiful indoor tropical plants. And today we're just going to go visit what plants we could possibly buy, some of the plant recommendations I would make. So you can see right here, right off the bat, $15.98. We've got a Pachira aquatica, or a money tree plant. This is the braided form. I do like that the planter is a little bit taller. I wish more nurseries would provide taller planters for the plants because I do like the look that it gives. It gives the illusion that the plant is even taller, if that makes any sense. You know, we talk about just plants and then the plant aesthetic part. There are times where I do feel like I am just more of a plant hoarder versus somebody that has actually got a curated plant collection. And so that's something I want to go delve into in future videos is, again, plant styling, curating curated plant collections, because I've noticed that a lot of the content creators that make YouTube videos about plants have started to really downsize their plants. You know, my friend Steven of I Live Plants, he recently did a video where he let go of some plants that were not bringing him joy, and he is going to be making a move to a new place. So I'm excited to see his journey and what plants he brings. But you know, that goes back to some of the plants that we put in our plant collections. I know that I've been really delving into a lot of aglaonema, but in terms of what plants we want to bring into our collections, leave in the comment section, plant foldies, what that looks like for you. Are you really more into the rare variegated plants, or are you more so into plants that are easy care and budget friendly? So as far as this Lowe's location, you could see right off the bat, it's super full. They've got many different types of plants. You can see right here, this is a dendrobian orchid. You know, I love orchids. Phalaenopsis orchids is typically what you will see, but throughout this video, I'm going to feature some other orchids that you may not necessarily see at big box stores. So that's something I am excited to share. And then you can see right here, bonsai. We've got bonsai from Costa Farms. Let's take a look at the plant price for this one right here. And I am excited to announce that I have recently become an affiliate with the Bonsai Supply. I do feel bad I haven't been able to make a specific video content as far as being an affiliate for the Bonsai Supply, but if anybody hasn't heard of the Bonsai Supply, it is an amazing bonsai supplier in terms of bonsai soil. So the Bonsai Supply soil you can actually buy from Amazon, but I will have a specific link with my name, my code on it, and it will give you a discount. But I would highly recommend the Bonsai Supply soil for anybody that wants fast draining soil, specifically for succulents and cactus as well as bonsai. But you can see right here, $12.98. These are the small miniature bonsai. Now these will require a little bit more trimming. The art of bonsai is really an art that will take several decades to really develop a plant, and even then it is one of those situations where the plant is currently evolving into different types of shapes and forms. Now as far as plants that are displayed in a way that's a little bit different, I do like that this has more of a kokedama style setting, where you have a Phalaenopsis orchid in a coconut husk, and you can hang it. So it's 100% organically sourced, if you can see that. I love that as well. And then you can see over here we have more plants. We've got bromeliads, we've got Dracaena sandriana, and then this one right here is a bromeliad, I would say bromeliad plant combination. We've got a Peperomia ginny here. We've got a bromeliad and a philodendron hederaceum Brazil. This is for $22.99. And if you're listening to this particular track, this one is actually titled Charlotte. It's named after my barred rock hen Charlotte. So if you ever hear this soundtrack, it's dedicated to my barred rock hen Charlotte. I am just really excited. So throughout this video, I'm going to be featuring new tracks that my friend Jordan created for my YouTube channel, because I want to continue to grow the Grow Folds brand. Aside from just big box or plant shopping, I eventually want to have plant products, maybe sell specific plants such as aglaonema, t-shirts, etc., etc. It is all about making that passive income, and you already know, plant foldies, I like to have that full transparency with the community. Your viewership, your support does help with my YouTube passive income. So by just taking the time to walk around with me as I pick up plants at big box stores, I know that the majority of the plants I am showing you are plants that you've seen in the past and you will definitely see in the future. But it's just nice for me to utilize these big box store videos as more like a personal blog where I can talk to you guys directly. I know oftentimes, especially for those that have not really made it to a live premiere chat, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time is what we have. That's someplace where we can all interact, kind of like old school chat rooms, and I really appreciate those that take the time to do to do that. So as far as the plants that we are looking at, you can see we've got a Rex begonia here, so lots and lots of Costa Farms plants. I did notice that certain Lowe's locations contain more plants than other Lowe's locations in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. As I mentioned in several of my videos, not all big box stores are created equal. I mean, but you can see right here, this one though is a beautiful Hydra Helix or the correct way to say it is Hedera helix. Which one would you say? Hedera helix or Hedera helix. So for those that are new to the channel, I know it sounds a little bit cringy, but it's one of those things where for the longest time I was mispronouncing a plant ID name, where it was me saying Hedera when it was actually Hedera, but that's kind of stuck around with it. For the plant foldies that like to count how many times I say Hedera helix during the live premiere chats, thank you for that. If you find that entertaining, then I am all for it. But you can see here we have some English ivies. This one is a Pixie Dixie English Ivy by Costa Farms for $5.98. So as you can see right here, I'm gonna just take some time to pick up plants, show you what plants they have available. So feel free to leave as many comments in the comment section in there so you can see what everybody's insights are, your thought process. I do encourage that. I do encourage the engagement when it comes to comments. And as far as comments and commentary, it is okay to disagree with some of the things that I talk about. Totally understand that. And I actually appreciate that when people do it in a respectful manner. So just know that in the comment section, I want to make sure that we do foster a positive environment. We want to make sure that if we are going to provide feedback, it is constructive feedback to improve a content creator. I am always open to that. And that is the reason why I've even delved into getting different songs created, because I know I was looping the same 5 or 6 songs, and that could be a little bit much for people. And so I am just thankful that today I was able to source out more tracks, and I'm super excited to continue to share that. But anyways, as you can see here, we are now looking at a beautiful Vanda Orchid, and this is another Vanda Orchid cultivar here. So Vanda Orchids are definitely different than Phalaenopsis orchids. These are more of epiphytes, so they don't even need orchid bark or some type of orchid substrate. They literally will just attach themselves on trees in the wild. This is another type of plant that is definitely endemic to my family's heritage and home country, the Philippines. And I always have to mention that I am a Filipino American, and I think the reason why I say that is because in this day and age, I feel like people sometimes forget their identity and their heritage. And as I do, plant content, it just reminds me of how the majority of these plants that we see at big box stores, these tropical quote house plants, are actually plants that grow in the native wild in the Philippines and even in Southeast Asia. Like all of these beautiful Vanda orchids is amazing. Foldies, as far as the Vanda Orchid care, you just want to make sure that they stay on a crate like this and just hang it up. They need bright light in order for them to really thrive. You do not want to overwater them. The way you could water them is to either use a hose if you're growing them outdoors and just getting their aerial roots sprayed down, and you'll know that they don't need any more water when their roots are a little bit more on the grayer side like this. So this one's going to need a little bit of a drink. But if you take a look at how beautiful that dark foliage is on the Vanda Orchid, there is one particular Vanda Orchid in the Philippines known as the Waling Waling. Definitely do a online search and you will see that it is the queen of all orchids, and it is one from the Philippines. But as far as the Vanda Orchids, it's something that I would love to just add into my collection. But knowing that I don't have that hot, humid environment year round, it would just be really challenging to grow Vanda orchids. Needless to say, in terms of just enjoying their beauty, I do like the fact that I can go to a big box store like Lowe's and enjoy it first thing in the morning. And as far as plant shopping, I did want to ask the plant foldies, when do you typically go big box or plant shopping, or plant shopping in general? Do you typically shop at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, Target, or local or small businesses out in your area? Please leave that in the comments, because I do love knowing your insights. Or do you buy a lot of your plants online? I just always say, in terms of shopping for plants, diversify where you get your selection of plants, because you never know where you're going to get the best pricing and best deals on plants. As far as saving money at Lowe's, again, I am a big advocate in terms of downloading the Lowe's app, the Lowe's Rewards or Lowe's My Rewards app, because you do end up garnering points. You get digital coupons whenever you are downloading those big box store apps. Those that are curious what the title of the background music song that's playing, it's called Unfurl. Again, it is by my good friend Jordan. He has just gifted me so many amazing tracks, and I am excited to continue to utilize these tracks. So that way we have a different type of vibe when it comes to the Grow Folds big box or plant shopping videos. It's definitely an original track for my YouTube channel. And for those that haven't joined my YouTube membership tier, the Super Plant Foldies, it is only for the price of a cup of coffee, only $2.99. It's even less than, say, buying a Costa Farms exotic angel plant for $5.98. You will get access to membership only exclusive content, and I am going to go ahead and create a music playlist of all the tracks that are featured on the Grow Folds plant shopping videos, so you can let it play in the background if you're doing plant chores, or if you just want to relax and chill. I do say that the playlist created by Jordan is definitely curated with all of the ideas that I wanted is in terms of a specific sound. So just a little bit of a plug or blurb right there. And now we're still going to go ahead and pick up some more plants right here. You can see this is another type of Aralia. What you'll notice at a big box store like Lowe's, especially the ones that are typically full of plants, is that you will see trays and trays of different types of Costa Farms exotic angel plants. This one is an Epipremnum aureum golden pothos, for instance. Really love the look of this plant. You know, pothos plants in general, like I said, it is one of the plants that is going to bring you joy if you bring it in your home, because they are so easy to care for. Here is another Hydra Helix. This one is a Pixie Dixie Hedera Helix, or English Ivy. This one is another one for $5.98. And, you know, as far as English Ivy, I just think that the best way to grow them is to grow them in a planter, not necessarily in the ground, in a landscape outside. I have my English Ivy in planters in a shaded area, and they are thriving. They are not just surviving, they are now thriving. I don't know, with the hotter, humid environment for the summer, they just tend to blow up in terms of their growth. And, you know, as I pick up all of these plants right here, you can see we have some Phetonias, for instance. Beautiful plant. If you ever really want to just put on size of your plants, grow them outdoors during late spring and summer. You will see that your plant is going to thrive, especially when it comes to growing ficus plants, whether it's Ficus elastica or rubber tree plants, Ficus audrey, or Ficus lyrata, any type of plant that really likes a lot of light. I would even say crotons, for instance, would be another one. And if you have plants like syngoniums, for instance, that are struggling indoors, what I do is I just chop them all the way back down to the base, give it about 3 weeks, and you will have a plant that is full of new growth. And that's just taking the plant outside and growing them outdoors. Like I'm currently growing a bunch of my Manjula pothos outdoors, for instance, my hanging Manjula pothos, because I've noticed that the growth is accelerated, and I plan on taking the vines and chopping them up and propagating them. But you can see right here, this particular Lowe's location is one that has ideal growing conditions. And you can see this by the variegated Dracaena sandriana, also known as the variegated lucky bamboo. It's not necessarily part of the bamboo family. It is part of the Dracaena family, but you'll notice that it's gotten a lot taller. And that's because some Lowe's have what they call a greenhouse extension. So where it's not necessarily connected in the actual main store, it's basically another room where it's basically for the indoor tropical plants with really high ceilings and full windows. Now the light that hits these plants is west facing, so that means that later on in the day these plants are going to get some intense light, and that lighting condition alongside with the greenhouse gives them higher humidity levels, which is really a good environment for a lot of these indoor tropical plants. You'll see that big box stores like this will typically have more growth on plants because of the ideal growing conditions. This one is a gold star croton, and I love the fact that it does have light yellow speckling on the leaves. It doesn't even look like a real plant. There's something endearing about crotons, and I think it's just because it is prevalent in the Philippines. A lot of people will grow these as like ornamental landscape trees. I've seen these in large form, and you know, as far as a croton, I just really wish I could grow them long term, but I just know I could grow them outdoors during the spring and summer months, but then when it gets cold, it would be really challenging to grow a croton indoors because it requires almost full sun all the time. And then you can see right over here, Costa Farms has a Sunny Star Croton for $5.98. Costa Farms always has many different varieties of exotic angel plants. I am hoping that they will continue to have more exotic angel plant selections because they do have a plethora of different types of philodendron, syngoniums, phytonias, dracaenas, diphymbachias, crotons, spathiphyllum, Paleas, Calatheas. They've got so many plants to choose from. And so when it comes to Costa Farms, again, whether you love Costa Farms or maybe not a fan of Costa Farms, know that you can't go to a big box store and not see a beautiful Costa Farms plant. They're everywhere, and I am living for it. It's just amazing that I will see a Costa Farms plant pretty much on a daily basis. I'm trying very hard to get my big box store plant shopping videos back on routine, where we have a daily new video premiering at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I'm just gonna go walk around again and just show you what plants that they have. Feel free to leave in the comment section which plants you like, if you have any questions about the care tips, or which plants you would actually buy. I do love all the insights you guys provide in the comment section below. As I pick up this beautiful syngonium by Costa Farms for $5.98, I did want to also name the title that is playing on this video, the music that's playing currently. It is called Nutrients. Let me know in the comment section what you think of this track, and if you are gonna listen or binge listen to a lot of this music, I definitely want to get that playlist available. So if you're doing some plant chores, or you just want to unwind, or if you just want to brand recall grow folds, know that these are official tracks and they all have their own title and meaning and mood behind it. So let's continue to pick up some plants and listen to the new music we have today. as you can see, plant foldies, oftentimes whenever you go to a Lowe's that has that greenhouse room, you will see a bigger selection, more healthy looking plants. As you've noticed, I have panned around showing you a lot of large Dieffenbachia, large Dracaenas, and there are many different types of large foliage plants. We have a ZZ plant right over here, and these are all sourced out by Costa Farms. You know, the Dracaena mesangiana, or what you call the cane Dracaena, is another plant that is overlooked and underrated, but I would hope that some people would actually go for these plants, the plants that may seem common. I just feel like every plant has a place in somebody's plant collection, and truthfully, the plants that I like to recommend are the ones that are either low light tolerant, drought tolerant, or just underrated plants. I like to go for the plant or the product that may not necessarily be trending, because when you think about how trends happen, it's typically because social media drives it, and perhaps I just haven't been the best plant influencer when it comes to popularizing Aglaonema, but I'm hoping that as I continue to talk about Aglaonemas and some of these easy care but also budget-friendly, affordable plants, that these plants will become a little bit more popular, a little bit more trending. Join me in my effort to popularize some of these plants by either posting on your social media pages, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, what else? TikTok, Instagram, all of these social media platforms would be perfect places to post some of these plants that we celebrate on this YouTube channel. And then you can see over here another beautiful Vanda orchid. Look at how deep that purple is. It is the color of royalty, and this one looks very classy and very regal indeed in terms of the Vanda orchid. You can see it's got a healthy root system, and that is the plant ID for this particular Vanda orchid hybrid. This is a flame violet, and you can see that this actually has the bloom. So really love the fact that I was able to find a hanging basket by Costa Farms of a flame violet. Look at how beautiful the pink flowers are. I love the silver texture, the velvety texture of the leaves. It has a metallic shine, and there are different varieties of flame violets. These ones are for $20.98. It's in an 8-inch hanging basket by Costa Farms. This is another plant that I would love to have in my plant collection, but for some reason I don't really have one in my collection because I feel like I'm not going to be able to stay on top of the watering. And I mentioned this in all of my videos. Whenever you are taking care of plants, you have to factor in the care requirements of a specific plant. So if you're not growing this outdoors where you have like an automated sprinkler, or you can take a hose and hose it down, it becomes a little bit more challenging in terms of just growing plants indoors when it comes to watering. And so that's often the time where people actually have hiccups in their plant care, is the watering regimen. So for me, I have just found plants that are a little bit more drought tolerant. When I say drought tolerant, plants that are a little bit more forgiving if you give them a little bit more neglect. I have actually found that even philodendron, like this philodendron heteracea in Brazil, is a little bit more forgiving if you do not water it when it needs to be. It will have droopy leaves, but it's not like a syngonium or some type of plant like a spathiphyllum or peace lily where it looks like it wants to go to plant heaven. And then you can see right over here we have another urban jungle planter, a ceramic planter here of an Epipremnum aureum, some type of pothos plant, and it has some very faint green on green variegation, and this one tends to be a slower grower because of the smaller leaf. It's more of the Enjoy pothos family. And then you can see right over here we have a beautiful black rabbit's foot fern for $20.98. This one is actually a pretty durable fern. I will say, even though it is a fern, it can take a little bit more drought conditions. Now, would you push the envelope? I wouldn't necessarily do that. And then you can see right over here we have a beautiful Vanda orchid. And before we get into all of the other shopping, I did want to just shout out Jordan for giving my grandmother these beautiful plants.
Hi Jordan, this is Lola Bilen. Thank you very much for all the plants you send me. It's all beautiful. I love it very much. I'll send you the I'll send you some pictures someday.
Again, shout out to my friend Jordan, who actually sent my grandmother some more plants. He ended up sending her some begonias, angel wing cane begonias, also a Monstera albo. She's been looking for a variegated Monstera, so it just brought her so much joy. And I have to say, the plant foldy community, the amount of kindness you've given my grandmother. She reads the comments. She sees how you guys have encouraged her to continue to grow her plants, to share her love for plants. And that's really what this plant community is all about. And that's really sharing our successes and wins, and also being a support system for each other when things are not necessarily going the way we would like it. And so for me, hearing that my friend Jordan sent some plants to my grandmother, it just brings me so much joy. Whenever anybody shows kindness to her, she is one of the most important people in my life. She is one of the people that have really inspired me and really been influential in the way I go about things with just life in general. And so again, I want to take the time to thank Jordan, and also for all of this wonderful music I have been able to share with the plant foldy community. So all of the new tracks, all of the new beats that you're listening to, these are all created by my friend Jordan. He does have a new YouTube channel with royalty-free music, which you can use, especially if you have a monetized channel and you don't have to worry about copyright claims. So that was super generous with Jordan. And you know, that's the thing about people, when you are not selfish with your talents or the things that you are able to share with others, I truly believe in good karma, in which you will always be given back tenfold when you give kindness. And that is really the message for today is, what have you been able to give to somebody? What kind of joy were you able to give to somebody? For me, I feel like, based on the comments that the plant foldy community gives me, the joy I give is just being able to create a space to create, plant shopping videos where many people can just sit back, relax, look at plants, maybe even listen to me ramble for about an hour. And that, I believe, is what I can give to the plant community. So again, thank you guys for just showing kindness to my grandmother, as well as just showing kindness to me, encouraging me to be my most authentic self. And I truly hope that everybody else will do the same. Now, as far as the plants, again, at this big box store, you can see that this is a fairly full Lowe's location. This is one of the more consistent locations out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I would say there are a couple of handful of big box stores, specifically Lowe's locations. The ones that typically have the greenhouse type setup where it's a separate room where they have all of their indoor tropical plants housed, that's really where you can get some of the better selections. That's not always the case. I could say that the Lowe's location off of McDermott Road in Allen, Texas is another stunner when it comes to plants. But let's go ahead and just continue to walk around and take a look at the plants. This one right here is a Hoya Comingiana by Live Trends Design. This is for $24, I believe, and 98 cents on a gold trellis. This is another Hoya that is endemic to the Philippines. And so it's always interesting to see plants that grow in my native land and how it is being sold as a house plant. So, you know, it's interesting that we have a lot of these tropical plants, again, that are being sold for these prices when you can go to the Philippines and it's literally growing on the side of the road, thriving with little to no human care. It's literally Mother Nature. And when it comes to plant care, the best way to ensure that your plant is getting the care is to try to emulate the natural environment that it comes from as closely as possible. For me, if it's a plant that requires a little bit more humidity, I have weaned away from trying to get plants that have more high humidity requirements, because the use of humidifiers, at least for my home, isn't really a sustainable long-term thing that I want to do for my home, because I have wooden floors and I'm just afraid that it's going to warp my floors or even create some potential mold unless you have some really good circulation. Now, as far as plants like this right over here, we have this beautiful philodendron golden crocodile by Costa Farms. Again, look at how bright the yellow leaves are. And this one again is for $19.98 in a self-watering planter. I talk about Costa Farms pretty much on a daily basis if you tune into my big box store plant shopping videos. And the reason being is Costa Farms is pretty prevalent in the indoor houseplant tropical world. They even have tropical plants as landscape plants. So you'll see a bunch of their hybrid hibiscus series, for instance, and other patio tropical plants you can place. Now over here is a Monstera, Monstera Peru. I really love the green foliage, and this is another example of a green plant that is predominantly green but still so beautiful. And then obviously we have $15.98. This is an Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. I say this all the time, and I will continue to say this multiple times throughout the video, but please get yourself a golden pothos. Pothos plants, as quote basic as they are, they actually bring so much joy to people because it's a plant that is very challenging to send to plant heaven. It's a very easy to care for plant. So let's just continue to explore what other plants they have available at this Lowe's location. If you made it this far into the video, plant foldies, please make sure you are pressing the thumbs up or like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. Know that that simple act or gesture really helps content creators on YouTube, not just me, but when you think about the amount of effort and work somebody puts in, that is just a simple gesture to thank the content creator for making that video. So please make sure, if you haven't already, press the thumbs up or like button for this video, and let's continue to explore this Lowe's location. Love pink plants as much as I do, and you don't have aglaonema, you can also get plants like these Phytonias. Now this is a large leaf Phytonia called a Phytonia pink wave. Look at how massive it is, and it is in an 8-inch hanging basket by Costa Farms. This one is for $20.98, and I just love the pink veining of this plant. This plant, if you are able to maintain the watering requirements, would be a really good plant. Same thing with this Phytonia stripes forever. Look at how beautiful this Phytonia is. It really has some beautiful striping on the leaves. Phytonias do not do well with drought, so if you let the soil dry out completely for too long, the plant is going to go to plant heaven. It's that simple. So there are some plants that really do require quite a bit of watering, or at least keeping their soil substrate moist. I would also say that Phytonias prefer a little bit higher humidity levels. They tend to be more of a terrarium plant, but clearly you can't put this big, massive plant in a terrarium. So if I were you, you can grow this outdoors. Again, I've been a really big advocate and somebody that wants to support folks that want to grow these indoor tropical plants outdoors in a shaded patio. You know, I have a lot of aglaonema that I get from Indonesia or overseas, and I find that the acclimation slash recovery from that long journey is actually a higher success rate of keeping the plant of going to plant heaven whenever I grow them outdoors in a shaded patio area, because number one, the watering requirements is met. It's a lot easier for me to just water, say 100 plants within 8 to 10 minutes with my hose. And then number two, just the increase heat actually helps with the plants as long as they are not in full sun. So that's just a couple of my tips. Feel free to try it. You know, if you have a plant that's struggling, if you have a plant that you want to put a little bit more growth to, put it outside in a shaded area, you know, preferably maybe east facing where it gets really nice morning light and then protection from the hot afternoon sun. Now, as far as pink plants, let's talk about the Belgian waffle plant by Costa Farms, $16.98. And I just love all the coloration of this one. They have a snow white waffle plant where it has more of a purple tone. This one has more of a cream peach tone with the lavender and pink variegation. It's such a beautiful plant, and this is actually a variegation or variation from the original purple waffle plant. This one is another plant that you just have to stay on top of the watering for it to really thrive. And then we also have this syngonium, this pink syngonium, which I don't know the specific plant ID. What I do know is it's really full. It's got a nice leaf shape. It's got more of a narrow leaf shape, and I just love pink syngoniums. Now, to maintain that pink coloration, you want to try to give this plant more bright indirect light, and definitely keep the soil moist, as in don't let a syngonium dry out completely for too long. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems where it's going to want to go to plant heaven. Syngoniums are fast growers. They're easy to care for if you can stay on top of the watering. As far as plant pests, syngoniums like this are susceptible to spider mites and mealybugs. So just make sure you are spraying them down with a neem oil spray. I happen to make a DIY neem oil spray that really works well for me, because then I don't have to spend money on buying like insecticidal soap. Here is another pink plant by Costa Farms. So this is another Photonia. You can see it's a smaller leaf Photonia for $16.98. So as far as what you want to find at a big box store, if you find one that is as stocked as this Lowe's location, is going to definitely inspire you to spend money on plants. I've tried not to spend money on plants. I've kind of had my impulse buys. You know, there were a couple of successes in the last 2 weeks that I wanted to celebrate. And, you know, for me, treating yourself is the best plant care, or at least best self-care is what I mean. Now, over here is a new urban jungle ceramic planter. You'll notice that they really do play with terracotta and just textures. This one is a Monstera adansonii for $14.98 in a hanging ceramic planter. I really like that as well. You can see there's many different varieties of plants that they use. This one is a Syngonium milk confetti, so it's got the pink splashiness on it. And this Syngonium used to be a super rare one that would cost a lot of money, but now you can buy this for only $14.98 in a beautiful terracotta hanging ceramic planter by Urban Jungle. this is an example of a philodendron moonlight that just received a little bit too much light to where it started to bleach the leaves out. That is ultra sun stressing for that particular plant. Still a beautiful plant, but that just got a little bit more light than it needed. And some plants, you can sun stress them to the point where you can bleach their leaves, where it doesn't necessarily burn or crisp them up. They just kind of get bleached like that. Over here is another urban jungle plant. This one is an alocasia for only $13.95. Alocasias, I have a couple growing in my plant collection, but they are all growing sustainably in, Lechuza pond. And there was a moment in time where I was literally gung-ho about just growing everything in Lechuza pond or semi-hydroponic substrate. I have now come back to growing plants in soil substrate. So particularly either using Classy Rabbit soil whenever I'm able to source out Classy Rabbit soil, or I've used Fox Farm fertilizers for sure, but I also use Fox Farm soil. I find that it's a pretty cost-effective soil substrate and it works well for me. I'm curious to see, plant foldies, in the comment section what soil substrates you use or what brand you use. I'd like to know, and I always ask for these comments just because I want to get to know the community a little bit closer in terms of like what plants you're interested in, what plants you're currently propagating, what you bought, what makes you happy, etc., etc. Now over here, we do have a neon pothos, and I honestly was going to buy this $20.98. This is my favorite pothos plant because look at how bright these leaves are. It is so stunning, and the more bright and direct light you give it, the more neon yellowish the leaves are going to get. This is a pretty fast grower as well, and in terms of propagation, you can let the vines trail to where you can take several cuttings. I just recently potted up my neon queen pothos cuttings, and I'm just really excited to get another free plant. My grandmother has really inspired me to just start propagating plants again. Some people say that we might unnecessarily propagate plants to the point where it becomes overwhelming because we have too many plants to take care of. But what I want to do with some of my plant propagations is either to share them with other plant lovers, maybe do plant giveaways with the plant foldy community, and also maybe sell a couple of plants on the side. That is a way of getting passive income. And when you talk about things that give you passive income, I know some people sell plants just to supplement their income. Let me know in the comment section if you have propagated and sold plants. What does that look like, and what is fair pricing when it comes to plants that you're selling? I like those insights. I know that I plan on possibly selling some of my aglaonema, especially the ones that I will propagate from overseas, because it is a little bit more of a challenging thing for maybe some of the plant foldies to get a hold of some of those rare and uncommon aglaonema. I mentioned this before, but I love to get plants from overseas, especially when you can go through a seller that goes through a broker, meaning that broker is actually the one that's taking care of the imports and all of that. So in terms of you're just receiving the plants, so you're more going through like a third party. Now, overseas plants is not necessarily for everybody because there is a higher chance of the plant just simply not making it through the acclimation period, or you receive plants that are fully melted or rotted, and that's not necessarily because the seller from overseas didn't care for the plant or sent you a unhealthy plant. It could feature, or there's just a lot of factors that can tune in, whether it's the weather. Like right now, if you try to ship a plant to the United States, in Dallas, Texas, you're dealing with 95+ degree weather. And then you got to think about some of the plants that are coming from overseas that are traveling literally 10,000 miles. So there is a lot of stress for the plants. And, I've gotten some messaging from some of the plant foldies about how they are a little bit apprehensive about getting plants from overseas. I would say invest in the plants that you want to get, but just know that the money you put into an overseas order, you may necessarily lose all of it because the plant may not necessarily make it. I like to be very transparent, very real about some of these situations, because I don't want somebody to be super excited about shopping online for, say, an overseas plant, and then all of a sudden they get a box full of melted or rotted plants in the mail. That's like an extreme case, but it does happen. So I heavily promote a lot of my friends that owned nurseries out in overseas, just because I truly believe and trust their plants. But you know, sometimes it's the luck of the draw, and you know, I want to make sure that in terms of the information I give the plant foldies, I just want to make sure that we have realistic expectations. Now, as far as the plants that I picked up, as I've talked about, you know, overseas plants, you'll notice that this Lowe's location just has so many plants to pick from. And for me, it's not necessarily the selection or the variety of plants. It's the merchandising and organization of the plants. I feel like this Lowe's location does take time to make sure that their plants are organized. And when they're organized, you're a little bit more inspired to build your basket and actually buy a lot of plants because you're just inspired to spend money. I think that is a retail merchandising tactic. And I do find that stores that actually keep their things organized and clean will end up selling more. And for me, if I just didn't have the guardrails today, I would definitely spend a lot of money. There's about 6 to 7 plants I would pick up. For instance, this philodendron golden crocodile. I mean, look at how massive the leaves are. And as it continues to mature, the serrations on the leaves are going to get even deeper. And to me, that's just super exciting. This is what you would consider more of a clumping type of philodendron. It's going to need a support because it will want to climb up, but it's a little bit less of, there's just less stems to populate, where the inner nodes are going to be a lot closer versus, say, a philodendron pink princess. And you can see over here we have a lot of plants that have been growing in ideal conditions. So this is another, greenhouse type Lowe's location where it is a little bit more humid in here. You can see that this Monstera Stadliana, for instance, is trailing. So it's something that has grown in this actual location. This one is for $19.98 and it looks super healthy, really pretty plant. And this is another Monstera that was super expensive years ago. So in terms of rare plants, plant foldies, I would just say if you have a little bit of patience, if you feel like that plant is not a need today, you can wait maybe 6 months to a year to 2 years, and that plant pricing will always go down. There is not a single plant that has really maintained its value. Maybe Monstera albos, but even then, if you find somebody that can give you propagations or cuttings, you can still save a lot of money on Monstera albos. $15.98. We've got a philodendron Birkin. This has some beautiful striping on it, and a lot of it has to do with the amount of light you provide this particular philodendron. It could revert if you don't give it enough bright indirect light. And then obviously I always have to feature Aglaonema red Siam, $15.98. Really love this plant. Some people will find this basic, some people may not even really like this plant, but I absolutely adore it. I highly encourage any plant foldy that watches my videos to at least pick one up, either from a big box store or a local nursery where you can get an Aglaonema red Siam or maybe even an Aglaonema silver bay. But look at that beautiful margin. Look at all of the red borders and the pink stems. This is a very easy plant to take care of. All you have to do is water when the soil is completely dry. And you can even see this one has put on quite a bit of growth at this Lowe's location. I recently bought another Aglaonema red Siam, even though I have several. And I did want to shout out again, Super Plant Foldy David, for giving me a super sticker, which is basically a monetary tip that you can give a YouTube content creator. He gave me a super sticker, and I ended up using that super sticker, that monetary tip, to buy a clearance 50% off Aglaonema red Siam at a Lowe's location. So just know, plant foldies, that when you do send super stickers, super thanks, join my YouTube membership tier, or even gift others YouTube memberships. That really does help with the sustainability of this YouTube channel. And I just truly appreciate the support. I mean, even this one right here, I'm even wanting to get this Aglaonema electric lime, even though I already have one, but I just love the fact that it has that silver metallic foliage. Let me know in the comment section, plant foldies, what you think of some of these Costa Farms Aglaonema, and if we want to encourage Costa Farms to produce more Aglaonemas, let us go to the Instagram page of Costa Farms and give them that feedback in the comment section, even leaving comments in the comment section for this YouTube channel, because I would really really love to see more Costa Farms Aglaonema. There are a couple of varieties that I've even seen on their website that they no longer sell. And I know that Justin, one of their horticultural folks, mentioned that it does take quite a bit of time for them to produce Aglaonema. So maybe in a couple of months, maybe a year or a little bit later, we will see more Aglaonema making it into the market, or at least that is my hope for it. But as you can see right here, we've got another beautiful philodendron Birkin. Love the striping, and we're just going to continue to walk around this Lowe's location because there's so many plants to look at and possibly buy. And I just love panning out like that and showing you how full this Lowe's location is. I'm picking up a Marantha, or what you call a prayer plant, $5.98. And the beautiful violin song you're listening to is titled Sunset. Again, it is by my friend Jordan, and I hope you guys will subscribe to his newly formed YouTube channel where he has royalty-free music. Let's go ahead and support another kababayan. He is another Filipino American that is supporting my channel by providing this amazing music, and I would love to hear your positive comments about the new music that I've featured throughout this video. He is producing quite a bit of music for me to play on my plant shopping videos. I had a couple of requests, and for the YouTube members, the Super Plant Foldies, there will be a specific playlist that you can play, that you can listen, and with each specific track. So that is another perk, and that's the reason why, if you haven't already, please consider joining my YouTube membership tier. In order to do that, you can either hit the join button if you're watching this YouTube video on a computer, or You can see the pin message in the comment section where it says click here to join. That is another direct way to do so. But as I continue and walk around this Lowe's location, I'm going to pan away and just show you a couple more plants before I wrap this video up today. Just know that I actually had such a great time just waking up early. I actually stayed up pretty late the previous night, Monday night. I had a pretty long day at work, but I am just happy that my Tuesdays, in terms of just, I guess, spending my days off creating content, as long as I set an early time where I can wake up early, do 2 to 3 videos, and then be home by like noon and have the rest of the day to either edit or chill. I think that that is a good balance for me. Now, as you can see right over here, we're looking at the African violets here. That looks like to be a variegated one. I'm not 100% sure. I do have 2 African violets. They're variegated ones that have done very well for me. And it's one that doesn't really require a lot of care. I would just say with African violets, just make sure you do not get the leaves wet. Bottom watering is the best method. And then I'm going to pick up just a couple of more bonsai here by Costa Farms. I have yet to make the bonsai supply affiliate video. I really need to do that. So if you are part of the bonsai supply company, I do apologize. I promise I'm going to get a really good content created, because what I'm thinking is I'm probably going to buy maybe a Costa Farms bonsai like this and then trim it up, style it using the wires and supplies that I received free from the bonsai supply, and creating a video with that. And then as I pick up this beautiful neon pothos, plant foldies. Will you let me know if I should have just bought a neon pothos hanging basket? I mean, this is another plant that I don't mind having multiples of, and I have so many hanging baskets hanging in my back patio, and they are definitely living their best life. I'm even thinking of taking different types of pothos cuttings, propagating them, and putting them in a mixed pothos basket. I don't know if anybody else has tried that, but I think it would be a really cool concept. And as I spin around here one last time to show you these beautiful foliage by these Monstera deliciosa and all of these different types of orchids. I hope that everybody is inspired to have an amazing week this week. It is midweek when this live premieres, and hopefully you're going to go out there and find that perfect plant to bring you joy, because plants do make people happy. Plants are good for your physical and mental wellness. I truly believe that. And again, for the plant foldies that haven't already subscribed to this YouTube channel, if you want to see more content like this, press the subscribe button with all the notifications turned on. That way you can see me pick up plants like this syngonium right here for $8.98 by Costa Farms. And speaking of syngoniums, I'm taking all of my syngoniums and taking them outside to have them really get a boost in their growth. And you can see over here we've got a lemon button fern by Costa Farms for $5.98. I'm gonna finish off this video by just walking around one last time, enjoy the beautiful music that my friend Jordan has created, and I will definitely see you on the next video. I was able to film a lot more content this week. And this is that Live Trends end cap you will always see at a Lowe's location. I just love Live Trends. There's really not much to say except the fact that they have healthy looking plants that are styled in beautiful planters. I could buy all of these hanging baskets of Live Trends design planters, and they are pretty value budget friendly plants. And you can see right here, this is actually a Costa Farms new planter. It's a self-watering planter. Look at this. This almost reminds me of a Live Trends design planter. planter, but I didn't even realize that it was Costa Farms. This is Syndapsis trubai Moonlight, and I like the modern approach that Costa Farms has done with this particular planter right there. But you can see that a lot of these nurseries are currently evolving and always changing, and I love the fact that there are just so many selections when it comes to plants that you can find at big box stores. You can see this is a Ficus lyrata, so this is a mixed media type planter where you have woven and metallic embellishments for this particular planter, and you can see that is the price right over here. We got a Ficus Audrey. My current Ficus Audrey is growing outside in full sun, and it is living its best life. All right, plant foldies, I've enjoyed shopping with you today. Please join my YouTube membership tier, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel with all the notification bell on. My name is Richie. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.